Yes. Welcome, guys. Welcome again. Hope y'all ready for this. I know I am. Welcome to another edition, another live stream here on the Chaos Rain Show. I am Chaos Rain. Today, I have the return of my special guest, Miss LeTisha Underwood. And tonight, as you know, we're going to have the latest discussion on our upcoming projects. And let's be honest, y'all all come here, especially ladies that will come back to this replay, and for you gentlemen, is the question that's on the docket: Is modern women do modern women be reformed in the dating market, or can modern women be reformed in the dating market, for lack of better words? And like that's typo, but nonetheless, that is the title and what we're going to talk about tonight. Before we begin, what's good, bro? That's in the chat room. Make sure you guys hit the like button, share the stream, and like always, subscribe to the Chaos Rain chat, and please become a member. What y'all waiting for? Join that red button, that nice little button in the bottom, and become a member of the Chaos Rain show as well. Links to follow me. You can follow me on Twitter at Chaos Rain. Oh, it's you. Oh, what's good? Okay, I get you now. You can follow me on Twitter at Chaos Rain 7. You could also add me as a friend on Facebook, Eric Ray on Facebook. You could also join my Discord service as well. And most links I lay out today are always in the description of every video. Sometimes I'll post it here in the replay, but if you don't catch in the replay, you can always catch the what they call the chat room. The description of every video. That's where mostly all the information to find me will be there. And also, become a follower on Rumble as well. I have Rumble handler as well, so please join me on Rumble. And last but not least, yeah, that's it. I think that's pretty much it, and I think I got everything laid out. So no further ado, I bring back my special guest, the one and only, the LeTisha Underwood. Hello, LeTisha. How you doing? Welcome back here on the Platform Show.
Hello, Chaos. Hello to your viewers. Thank
Yes.
you for having me on once again.
Yes. You are like many women I admire and respect the most, because you see the value of not only bringing love, but to see wholesome, cohesive family units in a harmonious way as best as possible. You what you have been laid out from last conversation for the last 11 years, roughly, and you're going to go more detail of what you're doing now, is that you see the importance of family, and no one's saying you ain't gonna get anywhere, especially if you're a woman in the West, if you're not seeking or cultivating the most essential thing that a woman should be, and that is to cultivate actual families with children and a man. So the floor is yours. What have you been up to, Miss LeTisha Underwood?
That's where do I start? I've been up to a lot. But firstly, yes, I do believe that family is what's best for society overall. When you look at trends over the decades, when people are looking at, well, what happened to society, and they're saying we've, falling off so bad, we have all these issues. Research, my research shows that even though there's a correlation between the loss of family values and what we see today, where there was a collective thought process or mindset revolving around family, the nuclear family, and making sure that your offspring will grow up to be productive citizens in society, because that's what's best for society. To now there's just this focus on people just doing whatever they want, and children, there's not this focus on parenting and rearing children to be productive members of society. So first and foremost, yes, a lot of what I do is helping people with their mindset around dating in order to get the outcomes that they desire. What I have been up to lately, I've been up to a lot. I can't remember the last time I was on your show. I think the last time I was on your show,
I think it
we were
was last year. It might have been last year. Because
okay.
we talk about I'll tell you the title in a second. Go keep talking. I'm gonna find the name of it.
Okay, so I do recall we talked about my book that I released, a do's and don'ts guide for a successful first date that came out in summer of 2022. That
Mhm.
book did relatively well last summer. Currently working on a new book. Actually, a few projects in mind, but right now working on two books. One is a fiction side passion project, so I'm very proud of that, The New Dawn. And then I'm working on another book that revolves around dating and dating high value men for women.
Okay.
That book is From Dating to a Diamond Ring, a guide to vetting and attracting um, high value men for marriage. That book will release, I think, January of 2025. And then,
Okay.
like I said, I have my passion project where I'm writing. I'm also a fiction novelist, so I'm writing a novel titled The New Dawn. It's a future dystopian novel. It is science fiction, and it revolves around what could possibly happen if Black people and other people of color decided that they were no longer going to fight for equality, injustice, fight for justice, fight for reparations in a country that's moving further right, who doesn't care about them. What happens, and think of the possibility of that group of people deciding to remove themselves from the United States altogether.
Mm,
So the book goes into what happens if that's the case. So if you can imagine that in your mind, then you would definitely enjoy the book. And I'm hoping that, and that book will come out March 2nd. So for avid science fiction readers, that book would be something. And right now you can pre-order the Kindle edition on Amazon.com. It's The New Dawn, and I put it under a different name, L. Underwood. Um,
okay.
and and From Dating to a Diamond Ring will come out in January of 2025. So both books are coming out next year. So I've been very busy with that. Also
Mhm.
pursuing my bachelor's in science for psychology pre-counseling because I'm moving into more of the counseling space and opening up, focusing on utilizing psychology around dating and maybe mating behaviors with singles. Not doing too much matchmaking this year. Moving past that, except incorporating into the date counseling, but semi-retired from matchmaking, so more focused on counseling singles on how to focus on refocus their thinking to in order to utilize better outcomes with thinking. So that's what I have going on.
You know the book that you mentioned right now, Letitia, the one that's talking about the Dawn, that's gonna come out in March. That actually could be used to make an actual movie. The title alone. If
That
if any person that's normally looking for innovative ways to come up with some new forms of movies, that title alone, and depending how long the book is, 'cause I think it's still in writing mode. I'm not sure how far you are in pages of this book. It is how far along are you the book? How big is the book particularly? This one that
Uh,
you
the
mentioned.
book is I'm looking to hit the 60,000 word mark, so I'm halfway through finishing the book. And you are correct that it could be a movie. It actually started out in my mind as a screenplay for a movie.
Well, that is a movie because think about it.
Yeah.
The title and the background alone that can make at the time we're in now to be something to they could put out as an actual physical movie. If it's not this year alone, I wouldn't be surprised the following in 2026 there will be even talks about it. Someone will come up approach you about that as an actual movie.
Yeah, and actually it's a it's going to be part of a series, so it's going to be a trilogy.
Yeah.
Um, so right now I'm working on part one and part two simultaneously. So I'm writing part one,
Mhm.
part two. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Yeah. I'm kind of inspired, and like when people are writing new material. I mean, I have not made the time to read every book. As a matter of fact, the latest book I have right now, since I'm talking to you, let me pull up. And as you guys wait, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. 1 second. Okay. All right, here's the book. The book I just got, and I remember an elder told me this. I have 3 different books that deals with the black plight in America, especially black relations, black love in general. Is the one written by Diana M. Stewart called Black Woman and Black Love. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this particular book or author. Hold on. You hear me? Oh, she's doing something. Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. No,
Have you ever read or heard about this book by a woman named Diana M. Stewart, Black Woman and Black Love? This was released back in 2020, 4 years ago, October the 4th. I just got it here today.
no, I'm not familiar with that book.
I would have guys take a look at this because this woman that I think she is. I might try to see if I can get her on this channel. She's Caribbean descent, and she wrote 3 different books. This one particularly got the eyes of a lot of people in the space, particularly about the American experience in regards why the black marriage doesn't work. And she does talk about a tangible solution, but I can't really go in detail because I just got the book. So I can't really go in detail. But it's one of the many readings that a lot of people should look into. You get me? So I present it to you because you're now a writer and author. It won't hurt to take a look at her work. I'll put in the back chat.
Thank you. Just send me like a link, and I'll look into it.
And I'll put an email of the link because that's not I don't have an affiliate with Amazon. I might shut now. I ain't gonna waste time. I'll think about it. But other than that, yeah, that's a book to look into. Okay. So yeah, those are the book project. And what's this? I got a question. If you got a question, you could say it now. I prefer the super chat, but you can put your question out right now in the chat room if you have any questions. Wait, the guy wrote here. What's that co-wrote? Exactly. The single parent household has rose from 22% in 1960 to 74% in today's time. I thought it was like 80 now. I think it kind of bounced around between 80% to still it's still high around 70s. And I think that number right now in the next 2-3 years alone, that's gonna be peaked to over 80, 89%. Because now some women not even now venturing to not have kids now. Where our street is that in this decade, most American women, Western women, modern women, are not gonna even want kids like that. So it went down from 2 to barely 1, and now by the end of 2020, going 2023, you're gonna be surprised if one of them have a kid. That's the numbers that's laid out right now. Now I'm just projecting because I don't think that could make sense or that's accurate, but it wouldn't surprise me if ways are going now that it should be projecting like that. Hell, think about this, Miss LeTisha, and even the question online. You see these women talking about now that they're going to adopt a Middle Eastern Asian type of philosophy or way of directing, of changing the mindsets of their men in regards to they call the 4B movement. And I hear a lot of Western women now because of what has happened now in the last month. Because we have a new man that's going to run office, that a lot of modern women some of them are voicing and actually said they're going to take action to now say we are going to now deliberately close our legs. We're deliberately not going to talk about or be around or avoid men. And we're going to do all these other things so that way it will force the system to give me the right to delete my baby. Do you, in your mind, think that a 4B could change the tides of the Western world we live in today in the West in regards to change the minds and direction of the Western man?
No, I don't even think that it's really going to be able to be implemented here, because Western women like sex too much. So the women who are really uh, pushing this are women who probably struggle with men picking them. They struggle with, they're probably very introverted. They're in their homebodies a lot, so they're not really asked out too much. And when they are asked out, they tend to attract um, nefarious characters, antisocial men, men with certain personality disorders. It just doesn't work out. But even still, majority of the female population really enjoys having sex. They really enjoy casual sex. 4B is about removing that, not having sex, not having babies. So the research doesn't support that 4B would work in the Western society, especially here in America.
Yeah, I've noticed with the research and looking at some numbers. I don't look at all numbers because I always look at things of social movements in direction of how society is going and where it's shaping. And a lot of people today, knowing these movements will make sense in the short term, but in the long run, I would say not, because that takes a sense of discipline. And if you're not accustomed to being disciplined as a person, to refrain and pull back and cut back on certain degenerate behaviors. And what I mean by degenerate behaviors, I want y'all to hear me well. The way how we view and look at what we call intercourse or what we call sex today is now in a perverted, degenerate fashion. What I mean, I'll explain. Most of us, when we engage in that, it's always something of a, how you say, adult film lens. And I'm going to be clean with the language, but I'm going to be blunt honest with you. We look at how we view each other in regards to getting down in the bedroom in the form of Pornhub. Yes, yes. Matter of fact, because we're a generation, LeTisha, we're part of, split between millennials and Gen Xers, but usually millennials more on that side. That we grew up in a time where, if we were not accustomed to seeing these things, then we would not look at our opposite mates in that way, roughly. Depending, and probably people who was born in the 70s got more of the book, because this is, I would say this, and I'm going to go back to history briefly from I can recall, because I did show on this years ago. And you might not familiar with LeTisha. When the adult film renaissance started to come more into surface was in the 20th century. You familiar with this, LeTisha? What I mean by this, that a lot of films of people doing sexual acts, they had to pay in theaters back in the late 1800s, going in the 20th century. So last 19th century up to 20th century, that it started to show more surface of people filming each other and engage in these type of behaviors and things that usually is supposed to be private. And as we move into the end of the 60s, we have what we call the LGBTQ movement was born in 1969. During that same year, if you didn't know, LeTisha, and I wish I found that broadcast. I recorded and I found information. I can't find a broadcast. This is like years ago. That there were laws put into play and passed to now grant it that it's okay to put out what we call adult film activities through the general public to consume more in the 60s. And that same year, LGBTQ was started off in 1969. So around 68 to 69, it started off that they put laws in place, and then you see people that are in those behaviors. Now they were start pushing movement. So when you look at the correlation between adult film movies and we look at even homosexuality, which has always been around, but it's been more relevant and been pushed more to the point now it's really irrelevant now, because now you can't do or say anything about it. That sex was the first thing pushed to the public first to have you pass off, because if they pass it off and say now it's okay, it's not a law, it's not a crime. Here in America, they kind of passed it through around the 60s, but outside America, it was slowly passing through in other countries. I think somewhere in Europe mostly. And the reason why I've concluded why they did this is because they were going to create an environment in the mind of people, if not careful, that sex has to be the norm before anything else moves. That's what you look at when we look at that and the marriage. And people don't really understand that actually play a serious factor. Or a lot of people don't want to even get more married now. Even with the rise of feminism that starts to show more in the 60s, all that's a place that way it takes away the incentive. You know, most people get married because they want to have access. Like most students want to get access to coochie and have available at a given note. That's fine. But now because of these things pushed about, now it's like nothing now. So it takes away the thrill to anybody to really be committed right now in the present day as we speak today. So I say this, LeTisha, to give you a background. What you see now in regards to the marriage now, and some people fight it that they said that it should still be around. I would say, I don't know if I could say that because you look at because it's been around, it demoralizes you to really take an incentive of really with dealing with the ladies because now ladies feel that they're like men, giving up the box is nothing to them. Matter of fact, they think giving up the box, as you know, as a way of, from what you said from previous broadcasts, getting back at a man. And I'm saying, how is that possible? Either if he paid for it or he not, you're not getting back at a man because you're able to give way between your legs freely. So I'll let the floor be yours to really respond on this. I know I said a lot.
So there was a lot of intersectionality happening in the late 60s and early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the feminist movement, there's intersectionality with the feminist movement and the LGBTQ cause. Well, I would say lesbian cause because it was mostly lesbians. So they uh, crossed into each other, right? They felt the female lesbians felt that in order to have a true feminist movement, then they should be acknowledged. Their community should be acknowledged, and there should be proper representation for them. Um, Also, along with the feminist movement, you have the sexual liberation revolution happening, right? So you had these three groups intersecting to bring about what you're seeing now, sure, but actually it goes what you're seeing now goes back even further, and you alluded to it when you start talking about how more liberal people started becoming about sex in the late 1800s. And the reason why is because you had young women from rural towns, small towns, moving to industrial cities, and they were able to make money, and they're away from their family. They were up from under their family's control as to when it comes to mating, dating, marriage. So the traditional rituals of courtship, old-fashioned courtship, where your family was involved, because courting was a family thing, and a gentleman called. He spoke to the father, or the father and the mother. I'm interested in courting your daughter for marriage. Okay, you're going to do it openly in front of the family with the family's approval. Well, these young women got to these industrialized cities. They're on their own with other young women. They were making their own money. However, some of them weren't making a lot of money, but they wanted to have experienced something different than what they were used to, the old traditional way. They didn't feel like that aligned to them because now, even back then, they considered themselves as modern women. So what they wanted was for in order to spend the evening with a gentleman caller, was for him to take her out to dinner, pay for a meal, pay for an experience, or give her gifts. It became so revolutionary and so scandalous that the police called these women prostitutes. They were arresting them because you're not supposed to be seen out in public with a gentleman unless you're a prostitute. That's how prostitutes move. These gentlemen take these women out to eat, out to an event, and the police already know what's happening, that the woman will end up having sex with the men for this exchange. Well, that's prostitution. So But the women didn't see themselves that way. That is the modern style of dating now. And when people wonder why dating is so messed up and so out of whack, it really isn't. It is operating just as it was implemented. A lot of the things that that singles engage in now that they do and they think, oh, this is just a regular course in for dating. No, it came. All of these things came about because of single heterosexual men and women bucking the traditions of old-fashioned courtship and marriage. They didn't think about marriage, they didn't care about marriage. Dating was about short-term goals, short-term needs. The men wanted sex and the women wanted a free meal, gifts, or experiences. So, um, and so you have women who are saying the same thing. So while men have stayed the same over time, and they're mostly asking the question of what happened to women. Well, you have to go back to the late 1800s, the late 19th century, to understand that women were always bucking traditionalism. They're always bucking the system to an extent. They're always pushing the boundaries of traditionalism to break out of this mode of their autonomy revolving around and being centered around men and family, especially if she had dreams, she had goals, and she wanted something to do that she wanted more out of life. And that was a good significant portion of young women who came from poor families, poor backgrounds, and they didn't want to be stuck in those dynamics. They didn't want to be stuck in those situations. So what you see back then, you still see today. You see a lot of dating for short-term gain. You see a lot of dating with no real outcome or purpose around, and again for free meals, gifts, and uh, experiences. You see that really coming from poor women or women from poor backgrounds. So it hasn't. It's evolved a little bit, but it's still what it was initially, what it was set out to be. Like TGI Fridays is a restaurant that started because uh, it was a place for single heterosexual people to date in public but privately. Everyone knew that these two people were there. They were just hanging out. It was just liberal, casual, and but yet they needed somewhere to go and something to do rather than just walking around the park, right? So places like that, bars, speakeasies, all of these things came out of a need to buck traditional courtship and have a place for heterosexuals, single heterosexuals, to spend their money while they're getting to know each other and have and engaging in sex or the promise of sex. So I want people to know that's when you're dating, when you are looking for marriage, when you're dating, this is why you're struggling, this is why you're frustrated, this is why you don't like it, it doesn't feel right to you, because if you're seeking marriage, this is not the way that you're supposed to be doing it.
Yeah. I think most people have their own ulterior motives, what they really want when going out in these streets looking for something. Um, as you know, as men, and a lot of ladies always question. And one thing I do want to say, I see you guys with chats. I'm gonna get into a second. I, I was contemplating of covering Dr. Omar and his conversation with the lady from Australia. And one thing that I did not notice that got to me, that the lady from Australia, she's black, right? Sh And Omar said that every woman, modern woman, particularly black people, are no different from not only from America but outside America in regards what they're looking for in mates. And the strange thing about this lady here is when Omar asked her this question about you looking for dating a black man, but he wants to know details. What type of black man you're talking about? And it took her to step back and think critically. And I'm saying this, LeTisha, a lot of women say, we're talking about black people, especially black women, y'all don't know what black man you really want. When a man asks you, what black man you talking about or you looking for? Because in their head, and they're transparent, and you deal with enough of these women because they come to you because they want to be married. You had to give the logistics, details. What you look for? You look for a man that's tall. You look for a man that has a lot of money. You look for a man that has a good body. What are you looking for? What is the characteristics in this black man you look for? Are you saying you look for just only a black man? A lot of women, and you gotta be honest with me, LeTisha, are they very much transparent with you of what they're really looking for in regards to mate, like literally in detail, depending on the age to you?
No, they're not. No one really, well, no one is really that forthcoming at first. It's a level of building trust. And that's why I really love doing one-on-one sessions, especially if the client continues, uh, has more than one session, because then we can build upon that. It takes building trust, right, between the client and myself, and but over time, um, the information it is starting to reveal. And the one thing that I would ask a woman, if she, what's her list, what does she want, and they never put the main factor on that list ever. It's buried somewhere deep down at the very bottom, and
Mm-hmm.
they never speak on it. They don't even put it on their list, but I know it's there. Do you want to know what that thing is?
What is that thing, Miss Underwood?
Good sex.
There you go.
Good,
Y'all
good.
heard it. Y'all heard it. Yeah, wait. I got some for that. Sit back, guys.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up! God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
So, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about modern women, the focus is always how what that dick be like.
And so how I figure this out is, I simply ask the question, have you ever met a man that met the qualities on your list? And they always say yes. Well, what happened? Why didn't it work out? Well, we weren't compatible. It just, the chemistry wasn't there. So I always ask, well, how was the sex? It wasn't, it wasn't that good. It wasn't the greatest. Okay, well, how important is sex to you? Well, it's not. No, 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 no. How important is sex to you? Yes, I do want to have good sex. I want him. So we get into this conversation about sex and how important I can get them to open up. So then it's like, well, what women don't understand is their preferences as men is built on their sexual experience. They don't want to acknowledge to themselves because they don't want to come across as very superficial. They don't want to come across as looking like a slut or a whore. But their preference is built on sex. So the sex would be first, usually with modern women. Sometimes money will be first, but I'm finding that sex in certain instances will cancel out money, because even if she gets with a guy with money, and if the sex isn't good, she may cheat on him with a guy who is either from her past or someone who elicits that fire and passion in her. Um, so so good sex, passionate sex, is what they're desiring. And what I found is that when a woman says she's unfulfilled, that's usually in a way that she's unfulfilled. Because if the sex is good, he could be struggling. He can fall on hard times. He can be in his building stage. He can be in his idealization, dreaming stage. If the sex is real good, she will be happy to stay in a place where she can grow with him. So when women are talking about, I don't want to grow, I don't want to build a man, they're used to dealing with men who are not giving them that level of passion that they're seeking. They're not giving them that good sex. And sorry, fellas, when it comes to women, good sex is rare. It's probably rare than a man with a lot of money. So finding a man with good sex is is it's like hitting the jackpot for a lot of women. probably majority of women. They won't admit it, they won't say it, which I understand. But if you have a man that is good to you, and this is why you see a lot of so-called good men, they're left scratching their head. I gave her everything. I did everything. I don't understand what happened. And I had one client that I asked this of. He got a divorce. His wife was cheating, and he ended up divorced. And I said, "How was the sex?" And he said, "Well, she didn't really want to have sex with me that much, especially after we got married." And I said, "Well, what do you think your performance was like?" And he says, "I thought I was really good." And I said, "Do you really think you were good if if she was cheating on you, right?" And I had to tell him, I had to let him know that no matter how good you think you are, no matter what she's hooping and hollering, for a woman to cheat on a man, and she's not interested in having sex with that man, it's more than likely because the sex is not good. I mean, he was flummoxed about it. He was not happy to hear that, but that's usually the case. A woman studies show that unfulfillment is the number one cause as to why a woman leaves. Money problems plus unfulfillment is why she leaves. It's never money by itself. It's never infidelity by itself. It's never any of these things by themselves. It's she's unfulfilled and these things are happening. If she's fulfilled and happy in these relationships and things happen, she's likely to stick around and stay. And usually that unfulfillment revolves around mediocre or bad to horrible sex. There's no passion in the relationship whatsoever. But when you elicit that passion, you spark that flame, all these she's more likely to be more fulfilled.
So remember, gentlemen, it's always about passion. I remember Mr. Black said it best about when in regards to relationship, unless the woman is into, like really into, meaning passionate about you, you have really no worries. She will grovel in near you, or I mean, on the palm of your hand, because she really is into. Because you fulfill the thing that is the thing that she always want, is that inner desire, and that is that explosion, that busting blitz of explosion. If you know what I mean. So I get it. I understand it. Yeah. And think about it. This is why a lot of men that able to, I guess, get women or keep women or whatever you want to call it, they really, it's like this. The reason why a lot of males today, now my fact, scratch, men that are not productive in today's society, to be honest, is because they're trying to fulfill the simple needs of women, and that is to bust and make them explode with passion and orgasms. And because that, where is the time for a lot of men to really be actually productive? And I'm not saying men should have a regular healthy sexual life and all stuff, but let's be honest. If you a dude, and depending on where you are in life, age, or wherever you are, and you out here, and let's say you're slinging it like that, the one thing focus you're gonna do is you're gonna focus on make sure she gets hers before yours, because you want to be the one to ignite the passion in her. Because if you do that, she's not going nowhere. Regardless of, let's say you have another chick on the side. And let's be honest, LeTisha, I hear a lot of women complain about, these dudes or any man that has the option to have another woman on the side. Most smart women today, depending how good the sex is, if we're gonna go there, it might bother some, but it won't bother a lot of them, because as long as they're able to get that, they'll do what's necessary. She will fight and knock over another chick so she don't get access to you again because of the sex. Can we agree?
I agree. I agree with that. But also, I wanted to speak to a point that you made um, when it comes to the productivity of black men. And I don't think people are aware, but black men are doing much better than they've done in the past. They're more productive, they make more money, they have more expendable income than their predecessors. Uh, you have over 60% of black men who are part of the middle class. The middle class in America starts off around, I think it's like $52,000 a year. That's the lower middle class. But when you see a black man who is situated in the middle class, that black man is not likely to stay at that 52,000 a year mark. He's likely to go up to somewhere around 80,000 depending on the city, depending on the market. In a lot of small towns, for a single man, a single black man with no, especially with no children, the majority of black men don't have any children, they can have lead a pretty decent life, right? And then the way that usually typically happens, he takes his 75,000, he gets with someone who's making 45 to 50,000, and they combine their incomes, and they have a larger income household. So I think it's propaganda. Um, when that is being pushed, this narrative that's being pushed about a lot of men need to be more productive, as if that's the majority of black men, and it's not the majority of black men. The majority of black men are very productive. They make more money than women when you get to that 50,000 and up mark. Women only make more than black men. Black women only make more than black men in the poverty range, possibly the just the working class and below. That's where you'll see black women out earning black men. But when you get to that middle class and above, black men are out earning black women. So if people are going to say, well, black men need to be more productive, they need to stop centering women, which I agree. Um, then would not the same be said for modern women who are not thinking about marriage, who are not moving in a purposeful way when it comes to marriage and family? Why are you so broke and so poor that you need a man to take care of you, and you're not even thinking about being his wife or giving him children, unless you're just talking about thinking about giving him children just for a check? But even still, you're not thinking about giving him a family and helping to build a legacy for him. So why aren't you yourself doing better and being productive? What's stopping you in 2024? What is stopping you from being more productive to where you need a cash app before you even go on a date? You need a man to do X, Y, and Z, pay your bills because you can't pay them yourself. And I don't want to come across sounding like I'm bashing black women, because I'm not. But I just want them to ask that question of themselves when the statistics and the data shows that when it comes to significant income, black men out earn black women.
It goes back to the data, and yes, a good portion of black men are doing better, and I seen it, and the reason why I mention it, because let's be honest, a lot of women don't really care the plight of black men. The ones that's doing what they need to do, or the ones that's not. It's not a tactic for them to be on the, and I'm about to play, LeTisha, you might be familiar with this video. They love to be on the carousel. They love to be on and ride that carousel into the wheels. Wheels fall off. That's why they keep using these tactics. Hell, our good Dr. Omar Johnson on another podcast or wherever, talking about how the black man is giving them so much disease. Hell, even go as far as some are not even making much money or us. And I understand the game. I understand it. I understand it, sweeties. I understand why y'all do this. Y'all do this because you want to still be riding on cock. You want to be on a cock carousel. Stop it. Just admit it. You want to be whores. Matter of fact,
No,
one said it best.
like their predecessors,
Yeah.
they don't want to consider themselves whores, because whores, prostitutes, are upfront about what it is that they're doing, right? So it's a certain mindset. It's a low character, low self-esteem mindset. So they
Mm-hmm.
don't see themselves in that light. So they don't see how they're moving, because they're not upfront about it. They're very coy about the exchange, meaning, I know you want to have sex with me, so before I so in order for you to have sex with me, you've got to pay for it, and this is the way you have to pay for it. But they're not going to come out and say it. But yeah, the way that a lot of modern women move is like quasi prostitution. They're
Mhm.
it's so once they wake up and recognize that this is in fact how you're doing it, and this is why men are treating you this way, because men recognize prostitution when they see it. If
Mhm.
I have to cash app you in order to take you out, I am going to expect sex. Because what am I paying for? What am I getting? Just because you're, and women think, well, just because I'm pretty or I'm a woman, that's enough. That's enough for a husband, but there's not going to be this exchange mindset, meaning in order for him to court you for marriage, he's got to pay for you, because that's not the mindset of a wife. So the type of men that you're going to attract are going to be men who are going to be looking for an even, equal exchange. Okay, you want money, then I want a guarantee of sex. I don't want this pussyfooting around. This. No, I'm not that type of woman. No, let's put it. And you know who Mamiya Upsitting Ali, he says it's a lot. Just put it on the table. I just wish women would be honest with it and put it on the table. And men need to be open and honest too. Don't get upset when she asks for a cash app. Just simply ask her, what am I getting in return? Is sex on the menu? And if it's not on the menu, then you either put it on the menu, and if she rejects it, then you withdraw the offer altogether. Okay, well, then there's no need for this going down. This playing around with each other and getting upset with each other when both sides know and understand what they want, and they understand what the other side wants from them in return. So there's no need to get upset. There's no need to get offended. If women are going to play that game, just play the game back, and vice versa. So it's like, be honest about what's going on. And Sternberg's theory of love explains it much, much better. Um, there are different types of love out here, and unfortunately, what we are seeing is the most basic kind of love, the most primitive kind of love, which is sex. That's it. So you need, in order for a relationship to commence and go the distance, there are three uh, principles you need. There are three things you need. You need intimacy, you need passion, and you need commitment. All of these people have the passion or the sex, but they're lacking the intimacy and the commitment. They don't know how to build the other two. So let's just be honest, and that's called an exchange relationship. When you are wanting money or you're wanting sex for exchange for something. So it's an exchange relationship, and those relationships dynamics are not meant to last. But for some reason, people are trying to translate those dynamics into long term, at least in theory. They're having conversations, or they're idealizing the dynamic to where they're thinking you can catapult this dynamic into a long term relationship or even marriage, when no. Research shows that when you are engaging in exchange relationships, that they're not built to last. Even if they do happen to get to marriage, they're not likely to last. Like, so when you got the guy is not beating on the woman, he didn't cheat on her, but all of a sudden, after 5-10 years, the kids have gotten older, he's solidified, successful, has a lot of money in the bank. Well, she wants out because the deal is over with. She's done all she could to withstand the fact that she doesn't really like the man, but she was there for the money, and now she knows that she can cash out. And her mindset from the very beginning has been to only come in to that it was going to be short term, and when she was done, she was done. She could always just file for divorce. So that's a lot of what you're seeing going on. But a lot of people aren't going to be honest about it. They're not going to have these conversations about what's really going on and what they're really doing and what they really want. That's why these conversations are so circular online now. They've been going on, and people have been saying the same thing over and over again, and nothing's changed. It's because people can't seem to, the self-awareness of what they're doing doesn't work. And so you need to try something different. You need to move in a different direction. And that's why I'm here. That's why I established my business, my practice, to help people move on from that one track thinking. For those who want something more, for those who want a long-term relationship headed towards marriage, you have to change your thinking, which will lead to a change in behavior. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem as if most people are aware of that, or they're not seeking to change their thinking, to which now their behaviors will start changing.
All right, excellent. Make sure you guys like the stream, hit the like button, share the stream. And one other thing, I have some contributors. So you know these shouts are for you guys. Here we go.
But they be knocking, y'all. The sonic rings up out of it and you...
Thank you, Conservative Pill, the Cure, for a $2 donation. I appreciate it. And another one from my respectful longtime member that's on the stream. This one goes out to you. Oh, wrong one. Where's it? Oh, here it is.
But they be knocking, y'all. The sonic rings up out of it and you...
All right. Thank you, Tevin King, for the $10 super sticker. I appreciate it. Respect to that. You know, there was a particular question that I caught on a previous stream, and it goes out in regards to this thing about women, and they're talking about this thing we call guarantees, right? A lot of women think that if they vet a man or they give a man a certain timetable, right, or it's under 6 months, over 6 months in general, in their mind, they think that there should be somewhat of a return of a so-called investment if they decide to take on a relationship that will lead to marriage. What is your thoughts and opinions of the women that think that there should be guarantees in regards to what we call relationships that will lead to marriage?
Well, that's understandable, especially if that's a woman who wants to be married. Then yeah, she set her standard, she set her requirement, and there's nothing wrong with that. The problem comes in women thinking that every man is going to give you that. And no, you need to vet for marriage-minded men. Unfortunately, it's the non-committal men that are the most charming, the most charismatic, the most pandering, the most sexually appealing. And so they're thinking that these men, if I'm spending time with you, if I'm having sex with you, then it should translate into something else. But no, there's no guarantees in life other than death and taxes. But you need to vet for it. You need to be with a man who wants that. That's his reason for basically courting. Got to get out of the dating market and go into the courting market. And you need to be with a man, because if you find a man who is seeking marriage at the time that he is meeting women, it's just a matter of, are you the one that I can plug into here? Not, well, I'll know it when I see it, and it's going to take the right woman for me to want to get married. No, if you know that you want marriage, then you should be choosing men who say they want marriage too, because those men are likely to going to want to be married in 6 to 9 months or a year. You're not going to have to pull their arm, you're not going to twist their arm, you're not going to have to convince them or cajole them into it. If they are dating you consistently, courting you consistently, and it turns into a relationship, there's pretty much a guarantee, as long as you're compatible, that it's going to lead to marriage. But just because you feel you like the guy, he's handsome, he's sexy, he's got a great career, and he's someone that you can brag to and show off on social media, doesn't mean that that guy is going to marry you. So I understand that they want the guarantee. That's not the problem. It's who they're trying to get that guarantee from. That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, my thing is this. Anything you do in life, you have to take some form of risk. And I think a lot of people in the West today, especially when we talk about black folks in general, and we could say other people, let's be honest. Most human beings today, depending on your age, are not so accustomed now to really put yourself out there and take the risk to hopefully gain some form of reward or not. They want to play safe and easy. And usually the safest route, if we want to go use the word safe, is you have to really have your standards as reasonable as possible and let the cards play out as it should. Now, I expect as people, depending on your age, you need to be realistic out here in this market, you know, especially if you look for a certain type of man, or you're just, swirling. I mean, you have to sit there, put yourself in position to hopefully snag up a man that will give you what we call a commitment that will lead to something long term and even, yes, marriage. And usually, once you get to that point, especially when you get to the marriage part, if people get as far as the marriage, you're gonna have to fight for this. Case in point, you're familiar with Ice Cube, right, LeTisha?
Yes, I'm familiar with Ice Cube. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. He had an interview with Mr. Cam Newton, and Cam Newton asked him, "How are you able to be in a marriage for over now 3 decades without the issues and problems?" And what I can remember from that conversation, and I might look into a whole stream on this, but I'll still think about it, is that he says himself, from what I remember, from what I recall, Ice Cube has to fight to maintain what he has. It's not something that's going to come easy to him. Same for Mr. George Macon. He said, if you're married in this society, especially a black person, man, especially, you have to fight to want this, to maintain and keep it as best as possible. Because marriage is not guaranteed, just like life and death and taxes. We all know that's a custom that's always going to be there. But to really maintain a marriage, you have to fight for this. And a lot of black men, to those that willing to put in the fight, you have to understand clearly that if you're going to be married, every day, some days not going to be going well. You have to do what's in best interest in your heart and the best of your ability to try to maintain as best possible. Now, that don't say you have to stay in anything that doesn't work in your behalves, or you're in some type of toxic or abusive relationship as a man. You must understand, just like the ladies, once you make this ultimate commitment, it is like the vow said, to death do you part. That's why when it was scripted the way it is, it's scripted. Actually, to be honest with you, the vows of the marriage is scripted wonderfully if you think about it. Because they know in life there's going to be ups and downs. People are going to be rich or poor, all that stuff. But what values you hold to really maintain something that you and her made the ultimate sacrifice, and that is to be committed to each other to the thick and thin, is the greatest accomplishment any person could have. And not everybody is going to tough it out at this. There are some days your wife's going to get on your nerves, and some days you'll get on your wife's nerves. It's how much what you're willing to give up and what are you going to do to fight to hold on to something. And I think a lot of us today lost that, or we never really understand, because we never talk about parents that have been married for this long time. I think your parents still married, LeTisha. Mine still are, you know what I'm saying? And they're pushing out for God knows how.
No, my parents aren't married
Okay,
to each
well,
other. No.
yeah, well, like I said, they've been married. Anybody that hold on marriage over 20 more years, you're doing something. Today, you'd be surprised anybody could survive a decade. And we all know that most women nowadays, because they get in it in little faith in these things, that it makes sense why they will try to jump out of it, because in their mind, they're not willing to really fight for nothing. If things go bad or just go their way, they want to, abandon ship on little things. And that's not what it was designed for. If it really was, if that was really question marriage was designed where everything has to go well every day, all day, there's no problems, then you're not really in a marriage. Matter of fact, you're not even a human being, because as humans, if everything was perfect, the world would not be the way it is now, in chaos. And I remember one time you said chaos so nicely on a previous stream. LeTisha, I will hope you say it again from me before we leave off here. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like how you say it. But anyway, you get the point. Yeah. Let me see what's in the chat. So that's what I'll lay out. There was another question here that I had to pick up and looked at. And one woman wrote, and this off I got from another stream. Any type of investment you have with a black man, you need to be under contract. So if he decides to leave you and don't do what he said he would, then you'll be able to sue him if he ever gets something. What's your thoughts on that?
I just
Mind you, that was a black woman that wrote that.
women who have a heart of being a wife and creating and establishing a family is not thinking that. These are women who simply want to be married and have children for their own selfish purpose and gain. Um, they don't know what it means to serve. They don't know what it means to be cooperative and collaborative. Um, they're one upping other women by utilizing marriage. Well, I got a man, I got a husband, you don't, so I'm better than you. Women who talk like this, because it's one, women who talk like this should be avoided as a red flag. It is one thing for a woman to have the mindset to understand that divorce happens, and if there's a divorce, I want to make sure that I'm taken care of and provided for if I'm a housewife, if I am a home maker, because the man is taking me off the market. And when you're off the market for a significant time, and you're older and you've had kids, getting a husband will become much harder, getting a job or career will become much harder, right? So you want a little cushion. For modern women who have careers, who have jobs, who have professions, who are saying this and they're going to continue working, it's a huge red flag. It's letting men see their mindset, and it's now I'm not a psychologist yet, so I can't diagnose anyone, but I'm just speaking to the behavior and the traits. It's very narcissistic, and narcissism revolves around ego, grandiose thinking, self-centeredness, and is very self-centered because she has this mindset focused around what she can get and what she can take if things don't go her way, rather than looking at it from, I know what I have to offer and I want to share that with someone. I'm looking at my future husband, whoever he may be, I'm looking at it at ways to just make his life easier, better, and just make him happy. I want to do that for him. But that's not the first thing that comes out their mouth. The first thing that comes out their mouth leads to money and what she wants and what she can get. And that's a red flag. That is not a woman who truly understands what it means to be a wife, even if she gets married. And I think that's where a lot of men get caught up at, is that just being married makes you a wife. And no, it's the value behind it, it's the mindset behind it. And so while men are looking for wives, make sure you're vetting for the fact that she wants to be a wife, she understands what it means to be a wife, and not just a woman who is looking to get married because it's status, it's symbolism, it's a way to one up and compete with other women.
Indeed, indeed. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the Chaos Rain channel, and please, become a member as well. And you know what time is, guys? It's been over the, approximately the hour, and I see the chat room and all things getting very slow. I need to remind you on this.
I want my money.
I told you.
Where is my money?
Benny. Bring me everyone.
I need my money. I need my money.
What do you mean everyone?
Yes, please donate and support to. Oh, you never seen that before?
Oh no, that is hilarious.
Yeah, man. Wait. Let me run that again, because it went by your head a little bit. I'll play it again for y'all.
I want my money.
I told you.
Where is my money?
Benny. Bring me everyone.
I need my money. I need my money.
What do you mean everyone?
Yeah, man. Listen, when I came up with that,
That is so clever.
yeah. When I came up with that, I was thinking, you know what? When people said donate, and it's nice how they have theirs, but I'm saying no, that's not being explicit. You gotta be direct. And and y'all know scenes from the movie. I'm not gonna name the name of the movie. Y'all should know what movie that is. But the actor that played the villain was very good. That when he says, "I need my money," and then Will Smith says, "I need my money," and then you hear the guy scream and say, "Where is my money?" Listen, it's electric. So I came up with that. So yeah, but guys, support the channel. Yeah. So like I said before, a woman that thinks like that, personally, yeah, they're not really thinking of being a wife or a helpmate to a man. They're more inclined that you must serve her. And I think today, this is just me, how we look at modernization and westernization today, mostly Western women, particularly black women, and any other woman that thinks like this, they're more inclined that a man should serve them and serve them only. Anything that's not meeting their needs, it should be discarded. They should be thrown away. They should be punished to the full extent. That's why when people look at marrying someone in America, it is not really a good investment in the long run because the mindset is filthy. It's toxic. You're too selfish. You're what they like what we want to call them narcissist. I don't like to use that word because that word's been used to loosen out LeTisha narcissism. But a person that thinking,
Just call them self-centered.
yeah, self-centered, yeah, a person like that, you can't definitely be an actual wife to any man. The minute that man puts that ring on your finger and he says "I do," that'll be the end of him. You're going to take everything that he has instantly when things go south, and you probably plan your exit the minute that you say "I do." I think most of my women today, once they say "I do" and they do say "I do" and their husband wife, she's already planning her exit. You know, she's
And
plotting
then,
it already because think about it. Under 8 years, the max in America. When we talk about our community is probably under that, probably less than 5 now. That is not a marriage. If it was that gonna be a short-term marriage, you might as well treat that as like a regular short-term relationship, which I think the average relationship today, and I'm gonna guess because I'm not gonna really know the numbers, I would say more than 2 years. And I said personally, and I said this countlessly, and I create a form of how long you ladies should wait for a man to marry you, and this is just me. Everybody else has their own opinion. I said it should not exceed no greater than 2 years. Anytime it's going on to year 2 or close to that, and there's no inclination that he's surprised with no ring of marriage, you need to. And I said this, LeTisha. I'm gonna tell you this little game. I would say once you count the time in the calendar and count down, once year 2 comes, you don't see a ring in your hand or him doing a surprise before that. Once it strikes 12 and that day after the second year has passed, you get up one day, right? You in cozy in bed or he take out eating stuff and he say, you know what? I'm done. It's over. You get up out of your bed or wherever and you walk out and you leave. And what's gonna happen? The dude's gonna be shocked, like, huh? Huh? Just where you going, babe? Wait. Now, this is not gonna apply to every man, because some dudes won't care. They know you're wasting time anyway. But just the son knows you just end the relationship just like that. It's gonna shock a lot of dudes. Trust me on this, LeTisha. You think it's not true? Trust me. When a woman just sit there and say, I'm done. No explanation, nothing explained to skip. Wherever day it is, where you live with him or whatever, or you're by yourself, wherever, you just throw it at him. And you're gonna see the reactions. Trust me on it. Trust me. And here's one thing, because I'm saying there's gonna be a reaction, LeTisha. You're gonna find this dude, Rex, is gonna try call in and come in abruptly with the ring in hand, all that nonsense. I said, ladies, don't take it. If you have to make a decision where it's over, and you do it unannounced, unexpected, and you try to reach back, don't buy a ticket. Because that's showing signs of now I gotta do something to keep you around. And that's a slap in the face. Now, this won't apply to this will work enough depending on how people will do this. And LeTisha, you know why I came up with the 2-year rule? You know why I came up with it? Why I really came up with it? You want to know why?
Why?
Because I've noticed most relationships, if you hear them constantly, these relationships go beyond 2 years. I hear stories people go in relationships, long-term relationships that last 4 years, 3 years. And I remember listening from KS's channel. If I could count the average of a lot of women that's been in relationships, I guarantee it's over 2 years or close to 2 years on the average. So I came up with a 2-year benchmark because I'm doing the average now, roughly. And the reason why I say 2 years is because 2 years is fair enough, depending on your age. Now, most people say, I can't afford 2 years. I understand it. I respect that. You shouldn't. But I reason why I came up with it because I did with the average. And most relationships are going beyond 2 years. I hear people that's in long-term relationships that's 8 years, 10 years, 4 years. What the hell are you in a relationship with a woman for 4 years? But by that time, I guarantee you having babies with this chick before the second year. Hell, maybe the first year, because let's be honest, LeTisha, a lot of women today do love sex. And the sex is the only thing that's keeping you around. You're going to have to rethink that if you're serious. Now, this only could apply to women that are serious and they want to be more than just a girlfriend. This could work for you, ladies. Everybody else, you could try it, follow their advice. That's cool. But I look at the average. Most of the people in the Western world today in relationships on the average are over 2 years. So I say I put a cap tap right there. Say, no, it will stop at year 2 immediately. Once the clock strikes 12 and you're approaching the second year, by the next day, nothing happens, you're gone. Just shock them, surprise them. This will be more effective. Because think about it. You love sex, he probably loves sex, and he likes to be around you, wherever case that's keeping you. So this is the only way you're going to easily cut off. And you got to make the decision to cut off. It's only going to work if you cut it off, ladies. Because I can't tell you anything you're willing to do if you're not willing to make the effort to cut it off. Now, if you're in your 30s, this could work. The only time I could say it should be less than 2 years is when you're at that biological clock. Approximately. Usually 35 is the max. But by then, if you're dating with intention, which last time I checked, LeTisha, most women today out here are not dating with intention. Let's be honest. Right? You're 18 to 35. You're not dating out here intention. You're dating out here just to have fun, go on girls' trips, go out by yourself, go on, a lot of foodie calls, all this stuff, and you're just having fun. I put a stop to that. This message only applies if you're serious. If you're not serious, this will not work for you. Just go back out there on them streets where the streets are nice to you, friendly to you. You could be and bounce around a lot of, and keep it at. I don't know if you want to agree with me on this one, LeTisha, but that's what I came up. That's why I came up with it. Like I did with the average now.
Yes, I agree that it doesn't take more. A year. It
I
doesn't
know.
take a year or two.
It takes less, yeah. But I only came up with this because of the average. And let's be honest, I'm gonna meet people in the middle right now. Because telling people say 6 months and a year, that sounds good, but way how people move today, yeah. If y'all be lucky, it depends on who y'all dealing with if somebody's gonna make the decision right there. But go ahead.
It comes down to when you're dealing with someone who knows what they want. Both people know what they want. And I'm talking about both of them know that by the time they meet someone, marriage is already on the table for them. So it's not going to take long. When you focus on when it's someone that you like, if the guy has a woman that he likes, and if she's his preference, it's not going to take long at all. That's why you see 6 months, a year happening. I agree with you that 2 months is 2 years. Sorry, 2 years is the average that it takes for the average couple today to get from the getting to know you, we're in a relationship, engagement to married stage. So that's the average. That's good. Anything longer than that, you have to ask yourself if both of you really want to be married, if both of you really want something more, or if one of you doesn't want that, right? Or both of you don't want that. There's a lot of it's part of the reason why I moved over into focusing on psychology when it comes to dating and mate behavior, because there's just simply a lot of anxiety and fear around the unknown when it comes to relationship dynamics. And I want people to know that that is not a normal nor healthy mindset if you desire marriage. You can say you desire marriage, but are you able to attach healthily in a relationship to get there? Are you able to utilize the tools and resources and your own innate skills in order to get to that point? And unfortunately, a lot of people aren't getting to that point, and they don't realize that it goes much deeper than the opposite sex being the problem. Most people are the problem, whether they're men or women. They're the problem, and there's a root cause that goes much deeper than what's happening with them as an adult. A lot of these issues start in childhood, whether or not you were able to attach or taught to attach in a healthy manner. And if you weren't able to attach in a healthy manner as an infant and as a very young child, like a toddler age, the likelihood of your being able to do that without intervention such as therapy is not very high. And so what I see a lot of the times in most cases is that one or both people are not able to attach in a healthy way. They have some form of insecure attachment style. And these conversations are typically used as rationalizations or justifications, like what you're hearing from men and women. They're typically rationalizations and justifications as to why they won't marry, even though, or why it's not happening, rather than um, it actually, them actually moving in that direction. So a lot of this is theory, a lot of this is conjecture. It's talk, but in real life, they're so nervous and anxious about loss of control, rejection, loss of independence, that they can't seem to allow themselves to open up and be vulnerable enough to help to create intimacy in a relationship that can head towards marriage.
Yeah, and like I said, I only came up with this because I did with the average. And yes, if your intentions of being married, you must go about it and be straightforward and serious. Like I said, I wouldn't come on anything, guys and ladies, if I knew that where people are at, in a real realistic world. It'd be nice that we all know what we want right off the bat, and if marriage is on the table, it should be less than a year, under a year at best, and then you work it out from there. But how people moving today, but like I said, only if you're moving with intention and really know what you want, and you being straightforward with it. But other than that, you'd be wasting each other's time. So I'm here personally just giving you out an insight and a real suggestion how to, more than eliminate, but to really just, this is how, what if it's going this direction, that's best way to or the alternate way to go about it. And when you go this route, you just shock them by just ending it right there, because now it puts a person on Front Street. And obviously, when people are surprised when most women end the relationship, on the average, that's how it goes. You put the male on notice, you know, because let's be honest, for him to hang around, string you along for that long, more than 2 years, it tells you that he's sitting there waiting for the next best thing, for the woman that he could really
Or
marry.
it's
He
not
wants.
that's not always the case. It's not necessarily he's
Mhm,
waiting for the next best thing. I know a lot of men that's what's going on,
mhm.
but sometimes it does deal with the fact that they like the person, he likes her, but he's concerned that his needs are not going to be met, right? His needs around independence, especially. So, like, these men are, they're they're avoiding intimacy, they're avoiding closeness, right? But yet they still want their partner to respect and value their need for independence, their need for um, emotional detachment, and their need to have control over their person and the relationship. So I just want to say it's not always that he's sitting waiting for another person, because I've seen a lot of relationships where the man truly does want to be with a woman, but the taking the next step for him puts him in this fearful state of the unknown, and that unknown revolves around his autonomy and his independence. But either way, it's still not good. It's still not good for a woman to sit around and wait for a man in this way, because if he can't do the work and get help so that he can healthily attach in the relationship so that they can progress, then he's not the one for you. And then I agree with you that if he's waiting around for the next best thing and he's using the woman as a placeholder, she should recognize that very early on. And there are ways that she can recognize this and make her exit rather than sitting around for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years where you're wearing him down. And now it's like, oh, all right, well, the next best thing is not out there, so guess I will marry you. But then he's not committed to the relationship because a woman can tell when a man is not committed. He doesn't treat you right. You're constantly having to fuss at him or argue with him or nag him to give you what you want and need. And men know what they need to do in order to facilitate a healthy relationship. He just doesn't want to because you're just not the one. So that's the biggest red flag, is that when you have to have conversations outside of the first initial conversation about needs and wants, and you have to keep having the same conversation, just know it's not that he doesn't get it. It's not that he doesn't understand it. It's just that he doesn't care. And the reason why he doesn't care is because you're not the one that he wants. And so he's just hanging around and biding his time till something better comes along.
Mm, yeah, yeah. I think one thing I do want to ask you: do you think normally, some men are experiencing some form of trauma why they would stay around some women that that I would say they hang around, in lack of better words. Is there really something in them psychologically why they just really want to hang around? 'Cause I think there's some trauma going into for a man to keep a woman as a placeholder for a long period of time. 'Cause I'm a person just like the old man or anybody else. I don't believe in wasting people's time personally, regardless if the intercourse is good. I feel if my intention is clear and I'm looking for something, I will try to keep her time and my time as short as possible. So my question is, do you think most of them they're going for some form of trauma? Because to hang on to somebody for more than a year or two or longer, it's kind of ridiculous in my opinion. It's my question.
No, actually, no, it's not majority of them or most of them dealing with trauma, because attachment style doesn't necessarily deal with trauma. Um, but from what I gather from the data that I gather, it has nothing to do with trauma. It's the lack of options. It's the if you get a woman who meets a lot of what you desire in a mate, but if she's not your preference, you'll still be with her because it's easier to get your needs met when you're in a relationship than when you're out. And these men tend to be users. These men tend to be higher in a lot of the narcissistic and Machiavellian and sometimes sociopathic and psychopathic traits. They're very low on the spectrum to where they're not criminals or anything, they're not serial killers, but having enough of those traits where they're very selfish, they're very self-centered, and it's really all about getting their needs met. And even if they piecemeal or breadcrumb the woman from time to time when she starts nagging and fussing, it's just to hold on to what they have, until something better comes along. But no, I don't think majority of the time this is out of trauma. I just think that for a lot of them, it comes down to they have an avoidant attachment style. Actually, for majority of them, they have an avoidant attachment style, um, and or they are simply focused on the fact that there's not a lot of women with certain traits that they're looking for, so they'd rather hang on to one woman, get some of those needs met rather than being out here single and not getting any of those needs met. If that makes sense.
All right, makes sense. I'm not gonna really tackle it more. Yeah. Um, for last a few more minutes or 20 minutes, I'm gonna run a videotape for a short reaction because you could have more better insight and now analyzing this. And this is from I think the wrap up crew. They had 3 women on here, and a lot of women were showing their I guess their disdainful hate for the brothers in a way, and a lot of them are going through their reasons and logic, and to me, it don't make no sense. So for guys, for the last 30 minutes of the show, if you can, please support the channel, like the stream or share the stream or hit the super chat. And please leave a comment at the end of this video too. So no further ado, let's run this video.
I want us to listen to it. You're gonna be familiar with this clip, and then we're gonna dive into it. Like, what if you could play that real quick?
Let's get into it. Don't chew me up, because I know how you ladies like to tussle. I think black men are all alike. I think black men don't like black women. I think you can meet 10 black men on different dating sites and they all cheat and they don't respect their women. I think every other race values black women other than black men. I think the real gag is black men don't like black women. Like, they're cheaters. I'm convinced every black guy is a cheater. I bet half of y'all can't even drop one black man that love y'all that's loyal. Ooh, the gag. Black men hate us so much, but black women be the ones supporting them. And I know how you guys like to get in your bag. Don't be mad. Get you a Mexican, get you a Jamaican, get you a Haitian, anything but a black man. And I'm stamping it. And if you want a white guy, if it ain't white, he ain't right. I just feel like black women, we need to date outside our race because black men don't like us. And we shouldn't like them, period.
Stamping it. I stand on it.
And they're gonna talk. Which the ladies on the panel were more to focus, and that woman that's TikTok. And this is why, I'll be honest with you, I'm not on TikTok like that. I don't really give a crap about the app if the app is gonna be gone next month, because I don't see the purpose of it. You know, because only thing I see, what I've noticed what the app has done since it started to blow up in the last 3-4 years, right, is that it shows a lot of people's mental illness on a bigger scale on TikTok. It's like you could really analyze and know a person how they really think and move by what they put out for social media, and TikTok is that haven for that now.
That is correct. They're doing whole studies now on social media. I just took a course on the psychology of social media, and
I have an article on it.
Yeah, it's very, very informative in how people. It used to be art imitated life.
Mm-hmm.
Now people are starting to imitate art, meaning what you see on social media is just for entertainment purposes, but people are taking it as real life, and now they're embodying these things. And this is why I'm switching to psychology, because I saw early on through these conversations and what's going on social media is that, wow, this is deeper than I thought. There is a lot of undiagnosed mental illness, and a lot of these people aren't aware because they're functioning in their mental illness, meaning they have a job, they're making money, they probably have some type of social life and having certain experiences, but not realizing that your behavior and your way of thinking is really toxic and dysfunctional, and you really need to get help. But they don't see themselves as needing help because usually it's the ones who exhibit schizophrenic behavior or bipolar behavior, that's how they relate mental illness. And no, there's a myriad of different diagnoses out there, and mental health issues out there that you need to be treated on. It's not just those few that are very known in the public, but yeah, there's a lot of undiagnosed mental illness in the Black community because it's still somewhat taboo.
Yeah, a lot of real illness on full fronts. And I remember you might have heard about the media man. He went out and really explicit himself about his direction in regards to black people, especially black women. And I feel for the brother personally. But I'm like this. And a lot of black men should know this already. Black women that's on social media today, they're using it now as a form of poking a lot of men, Western men, and really just getting, while poking, get the biggest attention possible. Because think about this: if you are able to, let's say, date out, which most black women have no problem dating out in America, it's evident. If you are so much successful at it, you should be able to couple up with a non-black man. He marry you, you marry him, and you make a strong, decent family like everybody else. But when we look at the data, and here's one thing, LeTisha, I did a video on this. a person did some data on it, and they find that when these women now are swirling, black women especially, they're getting divorced higher. No, they're not getting married at a high rate, but they're getting divorced higher as well. So it's like a ratio, imbalance ratio, because the numbers don't really add up too much. Because let's be honest, unless they go by data cores about relationships, interracial marriages, like concise, people not really seeing that. When it comes to us, because black men have always have easy time marrying somebody if he can, if he wants to. But women here in the West, it's a little bit more challenging for a man to sit there and marry, let's say, Western black women because of their reputation, not only online but just in general. That is not a good deal in the short term or long term. But in regards getting the intercourse, oh yeah, they'll get that every day, all day, every day. And a lot of black women are, expressing that some can't function without having intercourse. So obviously, most men will take that and say we'll take that more than anything else. And not only we take it, anytime you stop supplying it, that's a wrap. So they could sit there and say that I'm going to venture out. It's like this. Go ahead, but no one's saying that where the hell really you're going, because you step out and you're able to step out. You will make sure you stay comfortable over there. Don't come back over here. There might be some dude that's gonna be a simp that will take you back, maybe. But as you know, the pool of simps, and you know it's firsthand, LeTisha, because you hear the men on online forums. A lot of them are not gonna be so leery to take back any woman that has a reputation, rather the body mileage, or even now we could say that has been dating out and trying to find that non-black man for commitment. And they can't, they're gonna try to come back to black men when they said that they have all their ish together. And really, most black men are not gonna deal with that. Not gonna, by the time you come back, reach back, a lot of them gonna be gone. And if they're not gone, they are exercising to be gone eventually. So that video speaks for itself. So now these three ladies gonna talk and they're gonna voice their opinions why they agree with this so-called chick. Let's listen here. Face.
Standing on it.
Standing on
That
it.
shit must be food stamps.
No, I'm standing on it.
So what made you write have this post, and what made you
Well, first of all, it's my preference. So all the black men were so offended. It's my preference. I've had bad experience with dating black men. They've been abusive to me. Not all of them, but the ones I've dated. So that's my preference. I wouldn't want to date a African American black guy. I would do a Haitian, or I want to date outside my race. Like, even coming, I'm the only child, feel me? Like, my father, he's a black male, but he didn't give me a good example of how a male should treat a woman. Used to beat on my mom. Used to.
And look at the language they use, LeTisha. Black male. Now, ladies, will you be offended if I call you black female? The language shows the almost disrespect alone. It's very atrocious. Do you agree, LeTisha?
Yes, I agree. There's definitely a disdain there.
Yeah. All right.
To do very, like, he's verbally and physically abusive. That's not something that I want. And I've encountered that on several different occasions. So that's how I feel. And I feel like the black men out here that want to date, like, outside of their race with the white women or celebrities, I don't take care to that. That's their preference. So with they shit, like, feel me, it don't bother me. So I'm stamping it. That's how I felt.
Okay. What's your thoughts on this?
I think she's entitled to her preference.
Thank you, sister.
What I would say is, I do understand that it's more of a from experience. So it comes from a metric of what you've actually experienced, like from personal. But the fact that we're setting a tone or a stigma in regards to like black men is highly. I'm playing the devil's advocate. Like, I'm not on the opposite side because I've seen domestic violence and stuff like that in the black community.
Now, one thing about this domestic violence, because I know me and man did research and it's bi-directional, but I find what I've learned really personally, and we talk about domestic violence as a whole, this is a Western man Western women problem that will never be resolved overnight. I think one of few issues we got to understand is we got to understand the psychology. What goes in the mind of a man or a woman that will want to attack each other, whether verbally or physically, because there are certain triggers people are exempting. And I think, to me, LeTisha, you could probably go in more detail. Do you think people are aware of a person's triggers, whereas from the male side or female side? Because to sit there and talk about this thing about domestic violence, I gotta look at this. There's something more in on the line that goes into this. You get me? Because I'm not sure how everybody else deals with domestic violence in outside America, but it's much probably either better or worse. And trust me, here in America, women got a little bit more lenient in regards to this. But outside America, you can't bring that certain energy to certain males and think that was going to happen to men. So my question is what is really going inside a man or woman in regards for them to go as far as engage in what we call domestic abuse or violence, if you
You,
can.
you have women who are, for the most part, choosing men with antisocial personality. And because we reject psychology in our community, we're not having these conversations around the psychology and the pathology of these men. They're not understanding that a man who is antisocial, that's just simply how he's going to act. He's going off his basic, primitive defense mechanism, instincts, and because he's doing what he wants to do, is exerting control in a situation, and he doesn't care how he's going to go about doing it. He doesn't care about the rules and the boundaries when it comes to society. So him hitting and beating on a woman means nothing to him. So while he may have remorse and guilt, some of them might have remorse and guilt after doing it. They lack the control and they lack the empathy to care enough that if I hit her, this could really hurt her. This could really cause severe, significant damage or harm or death to her. They don't care. But we don't because of how our community talks about psychology, like I get so much pushback when I bring psychology into these subject matters, because we don't understand it, we don't discuss it enough, and don't realize these women have to understand you're choosing antisocial men, and there's no amount of love that you can give. There's no amount of submission. There's no amount of goodness that you can give that's going to give this man some act right.
Hmm. Okay. 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 Yeah. But it's really pay attention to detail, be attentive. And it goes to show you that the psychology, and I think, to be honest with you, it should be taught more in classrooms, because we got to understand the mind personally, how people really behave and think. That will go a long way to resolving some of the more deeper issues, just the basics. But, and you don't have to really have a 4-year degree to do it. I mean, there's a simple book, like I think the DSM-4, if you can get the small one. I got the big one, to be honest. I got the
They're
four
on
book.
the DSM-5 now. Actually, DSM-5 TR.
Is DSM-5? I got the 4.
DSM-5 came out in 2022, and it was revised. So you want to make sure you have the DSM-5 TR.
Okay. If you got the new version, okay, that's even better. You got the bigger version. Okay. I got the big one, so I got the old version. But the new one they probably update with things like video game and its effects and all that stuff. All right, let me keep playing.
Black homes, but I am not one to say that all black men are the same. It's similar to like when we were speaking on zodiacs and characteristics. Everybody doesn't fall into a box. It's just like them judging us as black women. All black women are not aggressive, or come from a background of she wants to be alpha female or super independent. Some women do have. It depends on your nurturing and your nature of things. So I don't believe that we should stand on setting the tone, especially as a black woman. You should realize that how empowered you are as a black woman to say those things because you're coming from a black community stating those things. So it is very sensitive when we say it compared to a white person or somebody from a different culture saying it. That was one thing. And then on top of that, I only see two colors. So when I heard certain things, I'm like, I get it, but like your beautiful boyfriend now is technically, if we went back into slave times, he would be considered a, the N
Black
word.
person.
Educate me, because my man said that Jamaicans aren't black, so that's why I'm
No, well,
standing
I'm
on
South
that.
American and Guyanese, but I'm technically because I'm
West
on,
Indian also.
yeah, that's Latin America.
Okay.
But I'm on Latin soil,
So
but
so
I'm
you
still Guyanese.
so
Like
your
black.
boyfriend, which is he's
Yeah,
over
him
here,
right there.
he heard this video and said, "Nah, I'm good because I'm not black." Is that that's the
Speak.
conclusion you came up with?
I mean, yeah, at first I said I'm not black because I'm Jamaican and it's a difference.
Yeah.
Like,
Culturally, but not
Cultural
race
wise.
wise.
American black men,
Mhm.
I think
Are
that's what
different.
she was more talking about, the American black.
That's the fucking problem we was just talking.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, a lot of people don't understand when we go by the nationalities and all that stuff. That sounds good, but if you're America, they create a caste system for a reason. They're not gonna look at you unless you talk the language and maybe accent might go a long way. But overall, when they look at you as a person, a man or woman that's melanin rich, they look at you as another black person or a Negro, unfortunately. And I think these conversations is cool, but we gotta be honest. We live here in America, which goes by the color line, just like another caste system, and you have to move accordingly. And some people that are Jamaican do identify as black. I'm not sure about the people that Guyanese people. They might some too, but let's be
No, they
honest.
do. They
They
do.
did.
It's
They do.
just,
They do.
I think
Mhm.
the guy the Jamaican guy is pandering to his blue haired woman, the woman with blue hair, that's his woman. He's
Yeah.
pandering to her and making her feel at ease and making her feel comfortable because she's saying, I don't want to be a black man. What she's saying is, I don't want to be an ADOS man. But
Mhm.
in in Jamaica, even in Africa, and even in Latin communities, that when you ethnically look like it's it's the it's the features like you ethnically look like a black person. That's how you are seen in our country. So I'm just rolling my eyes at this conversation, and I'm trying not to judge the young ladies, um, but it's just pure ignorance and the stereotyping that's happening. And yeah, and I get it, but it's their own personal experience that created this bias and this stereotype. And um and then you're making a general statement about, and the girl in the video, the TikTok video, said all men, and the girl with the blue hair, she said all men. And I'm saying blue hair because it's easy to identify her. I don't care if she has blue hair. I'm not making fun of her. It's just easier to identify who's saying what. So the girl with the blue hair, she is going off our personal experience, which leads me to believe that there's a lot of trauma there, which is understandable. But you have to heal from your trauma. And once you heal from your trauma, you're able to broaden your horizon in your circle, and you'll see the good man. Because if you are a toxic person, what good black man is going to be seeking you out? So again, and then these women tend to be a little bit borderline antisocial, have a lot of mental illness, eat too, and expecting a good man, but a good man is going to run in the other direction from all this. You may not have babies by different men, you may not be out here having sex with multiple men. You may not be out here acting crazy and wilding out. And you're judging yourself by the lowest hanging fruit women, but you yourself have some issues and some behaviors. You may be quick to go off. You may be high in histrionics or neuroticism. You might be very low in agreeableness. And a good man of high caliber and quality is going to spot that, and he is not going to tolerate that very easily. So he's going to go the other direction. So what these women who men need to understand who these women are talking about. They are talking about men of a derelict nature, a very neglectful, sinister, self-centered, self-focused, egotistical, uncaring, unempathetic nature. And but they want to be with these men, and because they don't give any other man a chance, So now they paint a broad brush with all kinds of all men because they think, well, if this is what I'm attracting and this is all that I'm attracting, then this is all that's out there. Where I don't believe that. There are men that they're rejecting. They see them as lame, square, um, not uninteresting, lacking of passion, not attractive, no, very low to no sex appeal. So when they say there's no good men out there, they're lying, and they're lying to. It's like, who are you trying to convince, me or yourself? Because we all know that there are some men out there that you should be given a chance to. You can admit it to yourself. You're just not gonna do it in this conversation. But she knows that there are good men out there. This is a rationalization for her desire to put down, um, I would say, ADOS black men. This is just a rationalization and justification. So she's doing to black men what the women complain black men are doing to black women, and just bashing them and putting them down and rationalizing and justifying their desire to date non-ADOS black women out of trauma and hurt.
Yes, well said, well said, well said. Now fast forward to this, and this will be the last section of this video. I'm not playing this video long. It's this.
Her opinion.
If you know it's not right though.
That. I said she's entitled to her opinion.
But you also said that it's not right that what she said though, right? You said that.
I didn't say it wasn't right. That's her opinion. I don't feel that way. She feels that way.
So you agree with what she's saying?
I said she feels that way. I don't feel that way.
We're not wasting another 10 minutes
exactly.
on her.
Because it's
argument.
her
what I said. I'm not taking
it's not an argument.
Opinion.
It's okay.
And it's your opinion to defend it.
It's okay. That's
Next
not what I
topic,
said.
bro.
You say
Oh
what
my
you
God.
want to say.
Let's run the next question.
Listen,
next question.
This is gonna segue perfectly, man. Who is responsible for holding black women accountable? Because clearly they can do whatever the fuck they want. So I'm just a girl. Can you explain this? Because your whole platform is about holding black women accountable, and you have gotten a lot of pushback, specifically from black women who have tried to, out you. They try to Google your man and find out his social security number, leak it online and shit like that. So again, when a lot of the criticism is that when men have a platform and they talk about women say it's not a man's job or responsibility to hold black women accountable. Black women need to hold women accountable. Clearly, that's not a thing. So, what's your thoughts on this topic?
Honestly, like you said, it's no one can hold black women accountable. Because it's all really BS when we say it's very cliche to say let black women hold us accountable. Black women mind your business, but we can't. Black women, unfortunately, we have adopted this mentality that I can do whatever I want to do and can't nobody tell me anything. And this is why we are where we're at. So when we try to have these conversations and try to hold each other accountable, you do get it out of that. Well, it's not my job. It's not your job. Mind your business. And I think we live in a very selfish, egotistical society now that nobody cares. We don't care. I care about my sister, but her friend, I don't care about her but I can see her going downhill about to get hit by a bus. Well, it ain't my business, right? So I think if you're a black woman and the whole black women accountable, you have to be ready to fight, because it's going to come. It's going to come with a lot, just to say, sis, I don't want to see you out here doing that. And anybody who knows my platform, I'm always thinking about how young girls are being influenced. So what us grown women are doing is influencing these girls to do these out of control, I don't care attitudes. They have the most disgusting attitudes, and you can't even check them because they have their moms who say I could do whatever I want. So can't no one hold us accountable. No, not a black man, a white man. Your white boss probably, that's probably the only one who can tell us what to do because he pay us. A gay man can tell us what to do. That's kind of, it still revolves around if it's a black woman or a black man, a straight black man, we don't want to hear it. And it's unfortunate. We are really in a place where we don't even realize how bad off we are. We don't even, a woman who has it all figured out. And I'm saying, sis, I can help you. And you say, I don't need your help. I'm gonna do what I want to do. But I'm watching you do the same thing over and over and over and over again. And it's not working. So instead of saying, you know what, sis, you're right. Let me take heed to this. I'm a fight because can't nobody tell me nothing.
So,
all right, I let that rant as long as I have to, because that right there, in regards the ladies admitting that no one can really hold a modern Western black woman accountable, which I do agree. Besides someone that's your boss or a man that is part of the I guess LGBTQ community, which I didn't know that. That's something new to me. Cause I know people that's part of that community holds black women accountable. That's weird, but okay. To let you know, saying if those are the only two people that could probably might hold them accountable and they still, still do what they want. Really truly, women today, black women, they don't believe in no accountability because in their mind, there's no such thing as consequence. So if there's no consequence being played, then what's the sense of holding accountable to anything personally? And I'm not sure if LeTisha, you talk about the accountability piece from the clubhouse to other parts of social media, but firsthand experience that most black women, they'll just deliberately tell you, I just want nobody to tell me what to do. I just want to do what the hell I want to do. Period. I'm comfortable moving and acting and roaming free in this environment as a woman. And I wish that Nick would tell me something different. Do you agree or disagree with that?
So I don't focus on holding anyone accountable because we're all
Mhm.
adults, and as adults, you are responsible for yourself unless you're married.
Mhm.
Um, and unless you are dealing with me in an interpersonal relationship, then I'm going to hold you accountable for upholding, not crossing boundaries with me, right? Um, the only person that should be holding a woman accountable and that can actually hold a woman accountable is the man that she's sleeping with. And unfortunately, what's happened over time is that black men have been, there's a certain group of, well, black men have been so centered around having sex and sleeping with black women that, and since it's been so easy to do so just because you pander to them a little bit, so they focus more on pandering to them. And all it takes is one or two to pander, and then that's going to set the standard going forward. Well, this one let me do whatever. Like, why you can't be like him? Like, why are you got to, then they're going to see anything else as controlling. So it comes down to the men that they want to have sex with and they're having sex with, who's going to have to set the standard and not pander to them and set a standard to their behavior, because they don't care about most men. They're not even interested in having sex or being in a relationship with most men. So these conversations are focused around a small group of men, and that small group of men is based on the men that they are actually having sex with, the men they want to have, and the men they want to have sex with, because they not possibly can have sex with all the men that they want to have sex with. So if those men were to say, it's not me, I can't do it, other women can't do it, I don't care how much you try to shame and have these conversations in these podcasts, it's not going to happen. And it's not going to happen because the men who they enjoy having sex with, spending time with, and want to have sex with, which is the most important thing to them, is getting attention and sex from these men. Those men aren't doing it. So that's the real problem. Everybody else, the whole community trying to hold women hold women accountable. We don't have a community like that. We haven't had that since the 60s probably. And when you got into the sexual liberation movement and men were so focused on having sex, because they're now ugly, no offense to ugly men, but even ugly men can have sex because it was about sexual liberation. Like, I'm just, my focus is just on having sex, and if he's willing, I'm willing. So then you had men who had no money, who were not attractive, who were not physically attractive, who were able to get sex. Um, and all they had to do was pander to her, talk nice things to her, tell her what she wanted to hear, buy a little trinket or something, and not hold her accountable for any bad acts, bad behavior, poor temperament, or any of those things. Because again, because the goal was just to have sex. So if his goal is just to have sex, why does he care? So yeah, this idea that we should be holding these black women accountable, it's a fallacy, because the only way that's going to work is if the men that they're sleeping with And the men that they want to sleep with starts to set a standard and start holding them accountable.
Yes, and a lot of and then the men that are married to these ladies and not even attempt to hold some form of accountability, a lot of men will look at them as simps, unfortunately. And the dude that was back there that's trying to agree with the chick that said that she only deals with men that's considered not black, he is unfortunately a simp, and he's gonna get what's gonna come to him eventually. Because when you deal with women with that mindset, there's no satisfaction. You slip at one time, it's over between you and her. So my last question. Go ahead. Go ahead, say
You
something.
get him around just men alone, and he will agree. Yeah, yes, I understand. I'm black. Yeah, I'm a black man. But like I said, I noticed I was like, oh, he's pandering to his woman because he wants to sleep with her, and if he considers himself black, he's not alignment to her ideology, then he won't be able to sleep with her again. So yeah, he's definitely pandering. I can see the simp behavior, and with the husbands when they're not holding their wives accountable. But then again, they're married, so the accountability comes down to how she's engaging with the children and how she's raising her children, especially her daughters. And if she is raising them to be entitled and self-centered and engage in bad acts and bad behavior, yes, but again, the community as a whole can't do it. It comes down to the man who's paying her bills, and sometimes not even that, but it really comes down to the man who's having sex with her. That's who people need to have a conversation with. You're having sex with her. You're in the best position to hold these women accountable. Why aren't you doing it? Instead of coming to women like me and saying you need to hold these women accountable. I'm not sleeping with them. Science shows that sex releases certain hormones, one of those being oxytocin, dopamine, which puts a woman in a feel good state. I'm really not able to help a woman release oxytocin and dopamine unless I'm a lesbian. So it's going to be a little bit more harder for me to do it. Whereas a man, it's easier. You get her into a malleable state, an easygoing state, dopamine and oxytocin combined, and you can get her to do whatever you want. And sex is usually the way that it helps a woman to become more easygoing and calm down. But yet these men are so focused on sex that they're not going to do it. So that's who actually these conversations should be for.
And the last and final question on the topic at hand and the question of the stream. Is it really, can modern women really be reformed in the modern dating market right now as it stands right now? Is there really reformation to a lot of these ladies?
Reform for what? They're operating just as dating was established.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
if you want to reform them to get them to move to the marriage market and start courting, then men have to start courting and choose and move like they're courting, which means sex while it's on the table, that's not going to be at the forefront of your mind trying to get sex and focus on sex. You're focused on building a connection. So men will actually have to focus on courting and only deal with women who actually are interested in courting for the purpose of marriage. So modern women are engaging exactly how dating was designed to function. It's supposed to be casual, it's supposed to be fun, it's exchanging something. And that exchange is the men want sex and the women want his resources, time, money, gifts, and things of that nature. So all these men are complaining about these women only want money, and they're saying these modern women, well, just know that this is the cause for sex. And I get that a lot of people are just born into it, so they don't understand exactly what they're doing. But once you wake up and you become self-actualized and aware of what's actually happening when you're out here moving this way, that's why the outcome is the way it is. So modern women are engaging how modern dating is supposed to happen. For the men who want, and yes, men more so want companionship and to start families more so than women. So the men who want that You're gonna have to get out of the dating market and move to the marriage market. The women who want marriage are gonna have to get out of the dating market and move to the marriage market. You're not gonna find marriage in modern dating. You're just not.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's a wrap for this. LeTisha. This was very informative. I hope a lot of people got a lot of things out of this. Oh, another thing. Because your daughter, I think it's only one kid you have, right? She is now married. Am I right?
She is. She's married now.
How long has she been married now?
They got married earlier this year.
Oh, so there's this newlyweds. Oh, okay.
Yes.
So, yeah, I thought they were married now for like a year now.
No, it will be they'll be married going into spring, but they met in college, so they've been together for a while. They met her
Throughout the
freshman year.
college
Yes,
career,
yes,
4 years.
they met their freshman year in college, their first semester actually. Um, they met, so they've been together 6 years now. Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. And you see, I have nothing wrong with that. And to those that don't understand, and you hear the stories and data that if you're a lady, if you are going to a 4-year university or community college or stuff, it'd be better to find your mate in that same setting because that's where the best form of the possibility you're gonna find a man that's gonna be on some direction, using the college level, if you decide to pursue it. Other than that, if you go in this market, you're just throwing a coin and hoping to hit tails or head, a 50-50. But overall, usually if your person and your intention, like LeTisha's daughter, usually if you're going to school, that's where you're supposed to meet your mate, roughly. But like I said, you can't tell a lot of women nothing nowadays because a lot of women think they're going to college just to have fun and maybe get some education. No, this is where you want to get where you want to be and who you want to share life with. You know, that's the only thinking you should move if you're a woman. Other than that, if you're just out here just like every other modern woman, you get what you deserve. And like I said, LeTisha's daughter they're newlyweds and they've known each other for a few years now, married, and that's a beautiful thing. Is your daughter husband Ados by any chance? Because I'm not sure if he was married in Florida. I'm not sure what school she used to go to.
No, they're in Ohio. And
Oh
no,
wow, excellent. Where you from, right? Oh, that's what's
yes,
up.
yes, they met at college in Ohio. No, he's not ADOS, but that's not because that's not her preference. It just
Mhm.
happened that that's who she was the most compatible with
Okay.
um, at that time, and they had a lot in common. So just so happens that's who she ended up with.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. Your daughter went to school in where you from. Is the reason why she went to go to school in your hometown? Cause I think you're in down south now. When mostly,
Yes, I'm in Florida now. The reason why she did not want to go to school far, she went to school an hour away from where we lived. The reason why she didn't want to go too far is because I was battling cancer, and she wanted to stay close to home. So that was the best
oh,
college that was close to home while I was going
well,
through
it's
that.
not a long trip, so she had to commute an hour. She'll do.
No, she lived on campus.
Oh, she was getting okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, but it would have been easier for her to get back home if anything were to have happened and I did have a few health
Okay,
scares.
okay. I get you. I get you. I get you. I get you. That's sweet of her. That's sweet of her. And usually with most children nowadays, I'm not saying if it's wrong. A lot of people, if they're going to school, they should leave that nest possible. But if you're really close with your family, if you could find some in state, that would be the best route. You know what I'm saying? Because let's be honest, it's always good to travel, but normally if you have a good relationship with your family and it's tight knit, you want to keep out, especially depending on your parents, it wouldn't hurt if you can get one in state. No, I'm not always a person that's gonna tell people, your children should leave your parents completely. No, if your parents put in the time and energy to love you and wants better and hope for your dreams, I mean, it'd be nice. You keep eye on them. You get me?
Well,
Because
yeah,
most.
but I wanted her to go off to a school like Howard. I wanted her to spread her wings a little more because we're so close. It was like we kind of running codependent here. Um, because I was to the point I was like, oh, if you ever get married, you and your husband can live at home with me, and then I start thinking like, well, that's not healthy. So we need to kind of
Yeah.
gain some independency. And
Yeah.
I wanted her to spread her wings. I wanted her to experience the world outside of the little bubble of our little town. But she was adamant, Mom, you're battling cancer, so I want to be closer. So she went to a public university that was not too far from home.
Yeah, I understand, LeTisha. Yeah, most parents, if they're really intentional to tell the truth, I want you to spray links, and I still want you to. The decision's still yours where you want to take it. But I'm not trying to hinder you in what I would like you as your parent, your mother or father. So we want the best for you, and we advise that where route you take, we go still support. You know what I'm saying? In regards to how we feel. You get me?
And
Yeah.
the advice that I give women, especially young women, it's the same advice that I gave my daughter. There's a reason why my daughter understood the assignment even in college. She focused on her studies and her career, but she also made time to make time and space for love and falling in love. And but it's the reason why she was able to do that, and the reason why she's a wife now is because that's exactly how I raised her. So the same advice, the same counseling and guidance that I gave my daughter is the same exact counseling and guidance that I would give to women who are seeking the same outcome. Um, and even for men, would I give the same guidance that I would give to a woman? No, it's going to be different for men. But if I had a son, I do have a nephew that I do give guidance and counsel to, and I have nieces, and I counsel other men. I've actually counseled men into long term relationships, and some of my clients went on to be married. So I counsel them based on practical information and utilizing psychology to help them because it really isn't that difficult. We make it difficult. We just make it difficult because we are not using the proper tools and resources and skills to get what it is we say we want. And so my daughter knew very from a young child that she wanted marriage. And I told her, if you want that, then you need to choose and only deal with men who want marriage. Even as a teenager, since you know as you get older you're going to want it, don't allow a man to a boy to waste your time and play around with you. Choose the boys who are going to be serious. And there are boys in high school who are serious. Now they're going to be the guys that all the other girls are going to shun and not going to be with, but you're not going to have the other problems that these girls are going to be having. You're not going to have the lack of commitment that the girls are going to be complaining about. You're not going to have him not treating you right, more so, that these girls are complaining about. He doesn't want to spend time with me. He's talking to other girls. You're not going to have those issues because the boy who wants to be serious and just wants one girl, he knows what he has and he's not going to try to lose that. So you carry that mindset starting at a very young age. When you're able to date, you choose the serious guys. You carry that into even college. If you didn't date in high school, okay, you start dating in college. You need to have that mindset. Someday you're going to want marriage. So you need at least the real world experience of dating from that perspective, because marriage is completely different than casual hookups, casual situations, casual dealing with each other. It's a completely different mindset. So the mindset of a non-committal man and the mindset of a marriage minded man are not going to be the same, and they're going to treat you differently. So you need to have real world experience in dealing with men who want marriage. And those men are not necessarily in high demand when they're younger, but usually typically become higher in demand when women get older. But those men are now, they're off the market because they met their match early in life. So if you want, for the women who are younger, especially under the sound of my voice, you want marriage, you have to get serious about being with and choosing a man who also is serious. And you can do that at any age. Don't let anyone tell you that you're too young to be serious. Those people who tell you that usually are, if they're married, they're in unfulfilled marriages, they're miserable and unhappy, or they've never been married a day in their life, and they don't have any clue as to how to get there. You're never too young for it. It's never too early. If you're a marriage minded, you want marriage, lead with that value, and I assure you that the outcome that you're looking for will happen. It will definitely happen.
Yes, yes, yes. And it looks like I got another donation. Hold on, where is my thing? All right, this one goes for you, bro.
What they be knocking, y'all? The sonic rings up out of it, and you.
Thank you, Chief Raka, for the $20 super sticker. I appreciate it. And appreciate all you guys' donations. Respect. Much respect. All right. Any parting words, Miss LeTisha Underwood, for our people?
I would say thank you for having me, Chaos. I truly appreciate it. Once again, another great conversation. I always enjoy being able to have these conversations. For anyone who is curious about what it is that I actually do, if you would like more information, you can go over to my website, which is www.psydating.com, and that's psydating.com. I specialize in helping people to understand mating and dating behavior utilizing psychology. And in one of those ways I do it is to focus on attachment style theory. It's been revolutionary in the Black community. It's not something that really a lot of people are familiar with. And it's been eye opening and life changing for a lot of my clients when they realize that their attachment style is the problem. They understand it, and then they can change their thinking and their behavior to improve their outcomes. So if you are interested in a one-on-one session, I have my books back open for one-on-one sessions for a few weeks while I'm on school break. Go ahead and go over and book a session, or whether you want to take the free attachment style test. I have a free attachment style test. Go over there and take that quiz and get your attachment style. Start there. And if you want more information, or if you want to have a consultation or a session, then you can go ahead and book one from the site. Look out for my new book, The New Dawn, that's coming out March 2nd on Amazon.com on both Kindle and paperback. And for the ladies, I have a special book coming out, From Dating to a Diamond Ring: How to Vet, Attract, and Marry High Value Men. That's coming out January 2025 as well. So, yeah, so be on the lookout for all those things. And once again, Chaos, thank you for having me as a guest.
Wait, and here you go. Let me present the picture to y'all so you know what the new book she's talking about. Where is my phone now? Modern MO. Oh, let me find. I had it here on Modern MON. Oh, damn. Oh, here it is. I'm going to pull it up so y'all can see, because picture speaks a 1,000 words. All right. This is the book. It's in the middle, guys. The New Dawn by LeTisha. See the sun setting, I believe. That's what it is. Yes. That's the picture. For those that don't know. This is the book. That's coming out March. And I believe it's going to be maybe close to 120, maybe 200 pages. I'm just guessing.
Oh, no, that's going to be well over probably about 230 pages.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so it's going to be more lengthy than a script. Because you know how scripts are written, LeTisha, it's usually around 120 some pages. Yours like double that. So if it's like if it's going to be a series, it's going to probably be condensed. Because you know how films are nowadays. They're not accustomed to be running 2-hour films, roughly, on any subject. So they're going to probably condense it if they do take this as a script to make as a natural actual film, which I'm hoping they will, because the title alone, what's in it, speaks for itself. So be on the lookout for that, guys. All right, LeTisha, we will do this again soon. I will send you the information of the book I was talking about in just a few minutes as I get off here, so you can look into that book.
Also, I want to say, as a gift to you for your support of what it is I do, I truly appreciate it. I will send you a signed paper back copy once it's all done and ready to publish. So I'll send you a personalized signed copy.
Oh, yeah, of the book, The Dawn.
Yes, the new Dawn. Yes.
All right, I'll give you my email of my address as we get off here, so you don't have to really look it. I give it to you ahead of time. I appreciate that. I appreciate it, and I will read it too. And hell, I might do a short series because I'm doing one here about Obsidian's third book. I'm not reading the whole book. I'm only doing a good percentage of it, maybe close to half, maybe less than half, and
That's
the
a
rest.
big book.
Yeah, and the rest people gonna have to buy because as I look at a lot of audio readings, a lot of people don't cover a lot of books like that if it's available audio. So I make the dedication that I will cover it, saying firsthand. Hell, I covered the one with what it called Kim Porter's book, which if you want to watch or read or know about that, you gotta be a member to get the exclusive on that video I did on that. But yeah, I covered Kim Porter's book, and I'm telling you right now, LeTisha, if you didn't get her book, man, it's yeah. I you see one thing I don't understand about women. If you're going to end a relationship and walk away, the last thing you want to do is tell the man that you're dealing with that has a history and has a tendency to do things. You want to keep that a secret. I don't know why you telling the man that you've been screwing and not even married for a long time that you're going to write a tell book and tell about his business.
It's usually anxiety driven.
Mm.
You're overwhelmed, and women get overwhelmed very easily. And when you're that overwhelmed in that situation, you're hoping that the abuse would stop, and you're thinking by telling him that you're leaving it's going to stop. But unfortunately, that is the most dangerous time for women, is when they inform the man but that he's going to stop. But it's really coming from anxiety driven fear and wanting him to stop doing what he's doing. So it's like it's a subconscious reaction, because she's not, because a lot of women already know, I'm not telling him, I'm not telling him. They have the plan to not tell him, but in that moment you're so overwhelmed that you tend to just blurt it out.
Oh, yeah. I think if you read it, she one time tried to do it, and he tried to say, "Baby, please don't go," and all that stuff. I can't remember verbatim by each paragraph, but yeah, she tried to leave the first time, and the guy was trying to push to make her stay in a way. But when you, like I said, if you're trying to do that just to incite the dude, I mean, it works sometimes, but overall, it does not work in the long run. And depending who you're dealing with, like I said, you got to watch out for some people's tendencies because you don't know where their head's at. You get some of these dudes that's crazy that say, "If I can have you, no one else can have you." That type. So that's another story. But anyhow, thank you again, Miss LeTisha Underwood. And like I said, guys, check the website yourself. I also put in the description the link of her IG, which has all the information. And the reason why I use IG because it's a much better link. Because if I use this or anything else, YouTube has an issue with links, especially if it's not like used in a short link for some reason. So for a sake of conversation, I only share social medias for now until I figure it out. But right now, if you want to go and book your consultation, this is the site right here. Thank you, Miss LeTisha Underwood. We'll keep in touch. And like I said, I'll be hearing you from either the Clubhouse or from the Old Man's channel. Thank you again.
All right, take care. Good night.
Good night. All right, guys. Thank y'all for listening to today's stream. And a lot was been said. I understand this. We look for your comments at the end of this video. And there are going to be comments because, let's be honest, this is going to ruffle a lot of people's heads, especially modern women. And it's all in good love at the end of the day. But let's be honest. Let's be clear. We all know the dating scene out here is trash, but let's be honest. Unless you're intentional what you're trying to get out here, it's going to be trash to some, but not to all. Anyway, the links to follow me are the above. You can follow me on Twitter at Chaos27. Add me as a friend on Facebook, Eric Ring on Facebook. Join the Discord service as well. And follow me on Rumble, CRay23 on Rumble. And last but not least, and not I do mean at least for the giver fact. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? Last but not least, let me pull it up and I'll post it here for y'all. Please become a member of the Chaos Rain Show as well. And there we go. This is also in the description of this video as well. I'll post it here for those for the replay gang. And give this video a like on your way out. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Until next time, let it chaos rain.